Hey, good afternoon, guys. It is about 2:17 p.m. It is, like I said, well, actually now 2:18 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time here on the West Coast, here in Newman, California. And yes, welcome to this edition of Topics on My Mind for today, May 6, 2019. Hope you all had a safe and healthy Cinco de Mayo weekend, as well as a May the 4th be with you weekend, Star Wars Day weekend as well. And um, coincidentally, I guess for a lot of places, especially around here, just adjust my mic there for a second, especially around here. Hope you had a safe prom weekend or prom night this past Saturday. I didn't mean to say that word there, but which is ironic because when me and my family went to go see Star Wars, went to go to the Star Wars May the 4th Be With You celebration this past weekend, it also coincided with, of course, Cinco de Mayo weekend, and it also coincided, ironically, with some prom nights going on, as well as a gun expo, believe it or not. That was kind of crazy right there, too. The fact that we actually had a gun expo going on at the same time around the same vicinities. So, yeah, kind of, kind of ironic, if you will. But yeah, honestly, that's what was going on. So I hope you all had a safe, like I said, Cinco de Mayo weekend. Star Wars celebrations, May the 4th be with you celebration weekend, as well as, like I said, for some of you around the country, a safe prom night weekend as well. Um, but anyway, I wanted to get into the topic. But anyway, let's get into the topics here as I kind of link this to some other folks around here. But let's get into some of the topics I want to discuss here. And I'm going to look them up right now to make sure I remember. Sorry, my finger hit the mic there. Sorry about this. Just a little bit of scratch there. But the topics we're going to talk about, of course, is the new Spider-Man Far From Home trailer that just dropped this weekend. Not this weekend, but this morning, I should say. Also, once again, going to talk about this past weekend's Star Star Wars Day / May the Force be with you as well. Third, we're going to talk about the staff of MLP FIM, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, making sure titles and synopsis and even episodes are not leaked. As well as we're going to talk about number 4, we're going to talk about Sonic getting a redesign for his movie. We're also going to talk about shows. Number 5, we're going to talk about shows and movies that need to get a Blu-ray release and a 4K Ultra high definition or 4K UHD Blu-ray release. And then finally, we're going to talk about if Secret Wars, which is a Marvel Comics crossover event, which had its own sequel back in 2015, if Secret Wars is the next big MCU Avengers arc. We're going to get into all that. So hold on to your hats, guys. We're going to try to get through this as best we can. Can't make any promises. But anyway, let's start off by talking about the trailer. Now, I don't have anything. I didn't do any live reactions like I did with the Sonic one this past week, but I did see the trailer, and I have to say it looks really good. I think John Campa, is right about the fact that we're going to get 3 in a row. That Star Wars, it did its thing with Force Awakens, Rogue One, and The Last Jedi when it had 3 films that reached that $1 billion mark in a row. So it looks like Marvel, along with association with Sony, is going to be reaching that threshold as well with Far From Home, the way this is being played out. Now, what I like about the trailer is it does show the aftermath of Endgame. It does show that Peter is still mourning Tony's death and his sacrifice, and basically he just wants to try to move on now. He wants to try to have some. Basically, what it looks like. Basically, what I'm getting, the vibe I'm getting from Peter here, from Tom Holland's character, is he doesn't want to have anything to do with heroing anymore. Not heroing on a petty crime, bank robbery kind of level, something like that. He's cool with that apparently, but he just wants a break overall, which is why when you see him in a Spider-Man outfit telling the police officers, hey, I hope you guys can handle this because I'm going on vacation, he's basically saying, look, I want to have a break from heroism. I want to try to get my life back together here. I want to readjust my life. I want me and my friends to kind of, basically have a peaceful vacation, a peaceful trip to Paris and all that. Or I think that's where it's Paris, France. He just wants to have a break. He doesn't want to have nothing to do with heroism anymore. But that's not to be, because apparently, even though Nick Fury admits he's a hard man to find, Nick Fury does find him. He does find him, and he says, "Look, we need you on this right now." And you can even tell when he gets the information, he gets the feedback about what's going on. He still doesn't want nothing to do with it. He's like, "Look, I don't want to do this. Can you call Thor? Can you call Marvel? Can you call somebody else that can do this for you so I can have peace, so I can be with my friends, so I could tell Mary Jane, who is in this movie, how he feels about her." And I will give props as well, because there is rumors, speaking of Mary Jane, there is rumors that she might be Nick Fury's niece in this interpretation, which would explain why she kind of knows in the trailer that Peter is Spider-Man and vice versa. I mean, she says she tells Peter it's obvious. So there might be a connection there. And if that is revealed before in the movie, that's really going to shake a lot of things up, because it's going to be like, here's Nick Fury, who, is recruiting Peter into this situation, that Peter wants nothing to do with. And yet you have this connection of, oh, well, you like my niece, right? So wouldn't you do it for her? I'm not saying that they would do something like that, but that would make things very awkward. And I'm just hearing something right there. It's nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. There's just a little bit of just the air. That's all. Nothing really wrong with it. But anyway, there's reports that Mary Jane is probably would be revealed as Nick Fury's niece. We're not too sure yet, but yeah, the vibe you get from Peter here is he just wants to readjust. He wants time to readjust. He doesn't want to do any heroing. He doesn't want to have to fight crime. He just wants to adjust, get back to somewhat of a normal life, spend time with his friends, tell Mary Jane he loves her, and move on. And afterwards probably get back into heroing after he's settled down. But that's not the case. And the other thing that gets revealed here is we knew Mysterio, or Beck, Quentin Beck, as some people are calling it, because some people are thinking Comic Book Cast 2 said Vic, but it's Beck, or Vec, but it's actually Quentin Beck. Basically, we find out that this Mysterio, and there was reports about this. The reports about this that came out days before, that this Mysterio was from an alternate universe, from another world, from another Earth, basically another version of Earth, like Earth-168 or something like that. Now, here's what's interesting. That also would explain possibly these elemental creatures of Earth, of water and earth and I guess air or something like that. Or not earth, but earth, water, and fire or something like that. It would probably explain them as well, because what Nick Fury says in the trailer is the snap, and we don't know what snap it was. We don't know if it was Tony's snap that kind of restored things, or if it was Thanos' snap. I'm leaning more towards Tony because unlike Thanos, Tony's just a normal human being. And basically that what he did killed him. It took whatever life he had left, whatever breath he had left, it took it out of him. So Tony basically if we're leading towards the latter's snap, which is Tony Iron Man's snap that restored everything, that would explain why, as Nick Fury puts it, the snap tore a hole between the world and other worlds, basically created a, a jumping point for different incarnations of characters to jump back and forth. Now, to me, this sets up I think the next big event, and I'm going to talk about that. That'll be the last thing I talk about. But this is going to set up the next big event in the MCU. I mean, the Russo brothers, Kevin Feige, they can come out and say, "Oh, no, 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 it's not going to happen. We're going to do this differently." You pretty much right here in this trailer acknowledged that you're going to do it. You've been hinting and dropping hints that Secret Wars is the next thing. This is pretty much you saying, "Yeah, we're going there, but we're going to go a different route." So overall, I like the trailer because what it's basically setting up for this movie, as far as Peter is concerned, is him basically stepping up and being the new Iron Man, being the new leader potentially of the Avengers. So that's what it's setting up to me. I like it. I like that. I like it's doing. I like that it's doing that, and I like the fact that it's a. If you want to look at it as being that conclusion, that epilogue conclusion to the Infinity War saga or Endgame saga, or the first three phases, that's great because what you're doing is you're wrapping that up by having Peter step up and be the new like Tony Stark, the new Iron Man, whatever, the new leader of the Avengers. And at the same time, you're setting up the next phase. Unless they clean this whole mess up in Far From Home right away, you're pretty much setting up the next phase of Marvel films, which is, of course, I believe, and the Russos have dropped hints of it, the Secret Wars. But they're going to be doing it in a different way. So, honestly, I like the trailer. I like what they did here. I can't wait to see the movie in theaters if I get a chance to do that. I can't wait to see it. To me, I think it's obvious what arc we're going to get next, what arc they're going to build towards in the next few phases. That's what I think they're going to build towards. Secret Wars is going to be the end. Is going to be the Infinity War / Endgame of the whole scenario. Like I said, I'm going to talk about that later on, just when I get to the last thing here. But to me, that's what this trailer has done. It's given us an idea of how they're going to wrap up Phase 3 and set up Phase 4. Because I think somebody said it on a tweet here on Twitter. They said, they put a picture up saying, Phase 1 started with Iron Man. The whole building up to Infinity War started with him. And now the new phase is beginning with Spider-Man, beginning with his essential protege. Taking on the lead, taking on the new mantle of being in that position. So, really interested in seeing where they go with it from there. Really interested. So overall, like I said, I liked. Well, easy for me to say. I liked the trailer. I really enjoyed it. Not not stressed enough how good this is probably going to be. And I do agree with John Campy. It's definitely going to reach that 1 billion mark. There's no denying that it's going to reach that, and I think a lot of people know that as well. So here's hoping for that. Here's hoping for that. Um, Next thing we're going to talk about. Get on here. Hold on. Next thing we're going to talk about here is this past weekend's hashtag Star Wars Day, hashtag May the Fourth be with you weekend. Now I don't know if any of you out there had any kind of Star Wars celebrations. I'm pretty sure you did. I saw on Twitter and on Facebook there were several events that happened. I mean, ironically, it also coincided with, and I forgot to mention this earlier at the beginning, it coincided with Free Comic Book Day. So obviously, a lot of people turned out for that event. So again, I don't know if you guys had any kind of a celebrations where you were, but we had a celebration in Modesto, California. Of course, Modesto is the home of George Lucas. Um, I think this is my first time going to one of these celebrations. I think, again, this is one of my first times going to one of these celebrations, and thank you, Bugs Bunny, not the character Bugs Bunny, but somebody uses his name on YouTube. Thank you for being in the chat. But anyway, this is my first time going to one of these things, and I've been here since for a while, and I think they established the whole May 4th thing like several years ago. So, like I said, my first time going, and it was a good time. I enjoyed myself. Had some fun. Took video, of course, as you see here on my YouTube page and all that. As well as did some live streaming on YouTube of the event, as well as on Facebook. So overall, like I said, I had a good time, and I really enjoyed it. A lot of people, came out and cosplayed. My nephew got a picture with a lady that really went all in with her costume and made it look like she could be an extra in a Star Wars film. Be honest with you. Um, Me and my mom, we got a picture taken with Darth Vader, and I can't think of this. It was like a pig-like creature. I don't know what his name is. As well as later on, we got a picture with Chewbacca and God rest Peter Nue, I think, the original guy that played Chewbacca. God rest his soul. Um, but basically, we got a picture with someone in a Chewbacca costume, and the second picture that we took with him, because usually you take about one or two to make sure you could choose out of which one you want. The second one we took, the guy in the Chewbacca costume, did this to my mom, did the bunny ears to her. So it was kind of funny. It was hilarious. Um, but yeah, we like I said, we had a good time, had fun, and everything, and you know, can't wait to go back next year. I'll go attend it next year. There is another thing that's coming up at the end of this month that, of course, I will be YouTubing, live streaming, and all that. And that is, of course, Apricot Fiesta. So that's going to be in Patterson, California. I will be live streaming some of the things that we do there. So be on the lookout for that. Excuse me, as well. And it's a nice event. It's a good event. So if you're in the vicinity, excuse me, Apricot Fiesta is a great event to go to. Really nice. Basically, the first night is a Friday, and it starts in the evening. Well, it starts in the late afternoon, about 5 o'clock, and it runs to about 10 or 11. I think 11 o'clock this year. And then the next 2 days are a little bit different. We get a 12 to 13 hour day on Saturday, which is 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. because they kind of wrap it up a little bit. Well, actually to 9 p.m. because they wrap it up with the fireworks. They do a fireworks display. and then Sunday it's 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. because the next day is a school day, and it's just a 3-day event, but it's nice to go to. So if you're in the vicinity one of these days, just try to attend one of those events. Try to attend it. It's really nice to go to and have fun at. It really is. So it really is. It's nice to, like I said, have fun in a place like that. So um, anyway, basically, we had a good time. Went to a place called Fuzio's for a while, and yeah, let's just put it this way: lesson be learned, not by me, but my second older sister. Lesson be learned: make sure if you're gonna have a couple of dirty martinis and a couple of glasses of wine, you have plenty to eat. Because if you don't, let's just say you may not be all there for a bit. I mean, you and your family may think you're okay, but in truth, to others, you may not be. So let that be a little bit of a lesson. But yeah, like I said, we had a good time. Nice. It was fun. Got to be there for a while. Actually got to be there for. I think we got there a little around 4:30. When me and my mom, we came from Newman. We had to make a few stops, and then we got there, and we ended up being there to about. Man, we got overall. Me and my mom got home about a little after 11, so we were there for a while. It's kind of like I said with the Apricot Fiesta, but it was fun. They did a little lightsaber battle. Everybody that brought their lightsabers, toy lightsabers, or props, got to get into the middle of what was known as 10th Street and just do a little bit of a lightsaber battle. They had a parade of characters, a royalty parade of everybody that was dressed up, got them on stage. We had a city councilwoman do a good cosplay of Princess Amadea. I think Amadella, the mother of Luke and Leia. Really good. We had somebody dress up in a stormtrooper's costume. Had several of those. We had an X-wing on display. It wasn't a Tie Fighter. It was an X-wing, so it was nice. Got a picture and video of that. Um, as well as let's see what else. Oh yeah, we had a bit of a local rock band. It's called the uh, Long Eyed something like that. The Jedi Pickers or whatever. Long Island. The Lounge Jedi Picker, something like that. And they were good. My mom really liked them because they started to actually, along with some of the other songs they were singing, they sang a pretty good, decent amount of Beatles songs, which again kind of surprised my mom a little bit. But yeah, they sang some Beatles songs, so she enjoyed that. Um, yeah, overall, it was a good time had by all, and you know, again, if you guys ever get a chance to come down and enjoy an event like that, I would highly recommend you do so. Or if you have an event like that in your area, I highly recommend going to it because it is it is a it's a really good it's a really good event to attend. And again, if you guys are in the vicinity, if you live in the vicinity of the Central Valley or Fresno or whatever, stop on into the Apricot Fiesta, the Patterson Apricot Fiesta at the beginning of June into at the end of March into beginning of June. So really, just have a chance to check that out and have some fun. You know, have some fun and have a blast if you want to. It's real. Again, like I said, it ends. The night ends, if you will. The night ends, well, not the night, but one of the days ends with the Saturday night, I should say, ends with the fireworks around 9 o'clock or something like that. So if you have it, like I say, if you come in the vicinity, check those out. You will have fun with those. It's a nice time to be part of something like that. Like I said, it's really a nice time to be a part of that and all that. And who knows if you're a Brony, a Pony, a My Little Pony Friendship is Magic fan, Brony, Pega sister, you know what? Come on out to the Patterson Apricot Fiesta, give some love there, and let them know that this is the final season and they should support it. So that's just a little bit of suggestion. But again, I had a great time at the thing. It was nice. They had it right in front of the Brendan theaters, so it was pretty cool. I mean, think about that. You go to the movie theaters, go see Avengers, come out, enjoy yourself with the Star Wars thing. It's pretty cool. And they had I think it was a high school band for my older nephew's high school he used to attend, playing a lot of the instrumental versions of Star Wars themes and even the Avengers theme. And of course, they had it on the radio, and of course, they had it on the speakers, playing the CDs and all that, the actual music. So it was fun. It was good. It was nice. Uh, so yeah, overall, just had a good time, and of course, it's going to be happening again next year. The one thing that was cool about this that my second older sister, wanted to be there for was when the city councilwoman, who, like I said, cosplayed as Princess Amadela, I can't pronounce her name right, um, came up on stage thanks to Modesto View's Chris Murphy. That was his name, the host of the event. Came out on stage and proclaimed in the city of Modesto, courtesy of the mayor and all that, um, to be May the 4th be with you day / Star Wars Day. So that was pretty cool. And that's what my sister wanted to see and all that. But overall, it was a good event. It was good. I think if they really want to make it more special, make it more an event, that where they had the Lodge Jedi Pickers band playing, what they should do next year instead is have a big screen right there and just show the movies. Just show all the movies throughout the day. Or find a place, show all the movies on a big screen, whether it's in the theaters or outside. Show all the movies to coincide. That, to me, would be an awesome thing to do. Would be an awesome thing to do. So overall, though, again, like I said, had a great time, and can't wait for it to occur next year and see how they top themselves. Because you never know. You never know if somebody's gonna top themselves in an event like this. So really, really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. Sorry, but I was just typing here. Having here for a second. So yeah, just really great. And I again, if you have an event like that in your area, you know, I would check it out. I would really check it out. All right. So next thing we're going to talk about is number 3, The My Little Pony Friendship is Magic creative staff, making sure titles and synopsis and even episodes are not leaked. Now, the reason I want to talk about this is last year and even the year prior, in seasons 8 and 7, there was a massive leak. Now, a lot of people have the theories and reasonings as to why these leaks occurred, but there was a massive amount of leaks for not just the titles of the episodes and the synopsis, but the episodes themselves. And some of these episodes were, I would say, about 90%, 85. I would say more along the lines like 85% complete. Or I'll put it this way: to be more realistic, some of the episodes were fully animated, voiced, and everything, but they were 25% incompleted. And what that means is some of the things missing were the musical backgrounds and the sound effects. Some of the episode, in fact, one episode, the only thing complete about it was the recording session, the recording and the music and all that. Basically, the recording session, the sounds and the music, but no visuals. That was the only other thing, which was kind of weird. But yeah, that was one of the things, one of the episodes that got leaked. One that had the audio and I think a bit of the musical background, but had no visual. But there were episodes, but of course, I will admit that there were some episodes that were fully completed, but they were not supposed to be released until the official release date here in here in the U.S. as well as in other parts of the world. But basically, over the past couple of seasons, because of these leaks, people had early access to the episodes. They had, like I said, they had early access to the episodes. They had early access to the titles, the synopsis. They knew exactly what was going to happen before anybody else got a chance to, and that's why over these past 2 seasons, or at least the past season and a half, you had folks going on YouTube, going on the message boards like the MLP forums, the Questia Daily forums, and basically saying, spoilers, here's what happened. Spoilers, here's what happens in the episode. And they would put it in spoiler tags. So if you wanted to be spoiled, you would click on the spoiler tag and read what they had to say about the episode. And again, these were spoiler tags that were happening, and even spoiler notifications in YouTube, in the titles of YouTube videos that were happening because people got access to the episodes before they were officially released. Whether some of them were complete or some of them were 25% complete or whatever, people had access to the episodes. This is why, in case you guys have noticed, this is why basically a lot of the episodes titles and synopsis are being are basically being revealed, later in throughout the season. The being, hold on for a sec, just had to readjust my chair there, but they're being revealed later on in the season. It's like a couple weeks ago we had the synopsis and the titles for episodes 10 to 13. So we had the remaining titles and synopsis. We had the titles and synopsis, I'm trying to say, for the remaining episodes of the first half of this final season. So we had those. And even before that, I think after, episode 3 or so, you had the synopsis for episodes 6 to 9. So obviously the staff is being what I'm trying to say is being very careful about about not letting any leaks occur, not letting any basically they're being careful about not letting what happened the prior seasons happened this season, because this is the last season, and they want all of us to be as surprised, as shocked, as touched, you know, you know, um, as ever before, like never before. They want us to have that emphasis of surprise, you didn't see that coming, or shock of, oh my gosh, what the heck, kind of, or basically touched. Like a lot of people look at Common Ground this past Saturday, and a lot of people, and I still have to record it onto DVD. Um, a lot of people liked it because it dealt in its own way with a very mature subject matter when it comes to parents moving on with their lives and moving on to have other people in their lives, other love interests. So uh, so yeah, you have these kind of episodes. You have basically the moment at the end of episode 200. So a lot of the so basically the staff, they want us to be surprised. They want us to be shocked. They want us to be touched. They want us to be laughing our guts out sometimes during certain moments, or laughing our hearts out, if you will, during certain moments, because of the fact that we don't know what's coming, and we don't know what's coming, and they want to, and basically by letting us know what the title and the synopsis is, you know, throughout the season, it gets us to theorizing and wanting to watch that episode. Oh, as it when it actually airs, because when these leaks happened, there were a lot of people, and I will, and I will admit, even myself, that kind of basically saw some of these leaked episodes. And I did see, and I will admit this, some of the episodes that were leaked, some of the episodes that were leaked, ladies and gentlemen, some of the episodes that were leaked, if you will, people saw them. And like I said, I'm not gonna lie. I was someone that caught a glimpse of some of them, but people saw these episodes. Oh, it's way before they were officially aired, which is why when they were officially aired, not a lot of people were surprised. I mean, the only reason not a lot of people were as talkative or shocked or anything, because they had already seen them. The only thing that they kind of touched upon is they noticed that there were some edits, like the ending of the Mean Six episode, and how the fake Main Six, the Mean Six, if you will, were disposed of. That's the only thing that people talked about. Besides anything else. So honestly, again, it's just like one of those situations where it's just one of those situations to where the staff knows that this is the last season and they don't want it spoiled, which is why they'll carefully, in a very strategic way, very strategist, if you will, strategist like way, they are releasing the titles and the synopsis throughout the season. So that way it makes us want to see it before, when it actually airs. Now, here's the question. I know people have the question of, well, are they going to be able to make sure it remains that way? They're going to make sure there's nobody leaks into it, because a couple of seasons ago, it was during the hiatus for season 7 that the second half of season 7, some of it got leaked. And that's why some of the episodes were not so um were not so, like I said, commented on later on when it was talked about, because of the fact that it was more along the lines of the fact that people already saw them. So hopefully, that does not happen this season. It does not happen when we get to that initial break. Hopefully, it does not occur, because I'll tell you honestly, there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to be too thrilled if that happens, and that's an honest fact. That is an honest fact. So anyway, yeah, basically, if you're wondering why the titles and the synopsis are coming out throughout the season, it's because they want to make sure, they are trying to be careful that there's nothing leaked, that there's no leaks that occur, and that everybody is prepared to watch it when it actually airs, so they can get natural reactions when it does. And I think, honestly, that's a great move on their part, because you don't want people to spoil it for anybody else, and you don't want basically people to, like, if they do comment again, it'll be like, yeah, I knew that was going to happen, and this is the only reason I'm commenting, because they did this change. They don't want that, and neither does anybody else. So that's why, honestly, folks, you have people, you have the creative staff, the people behind the show, releasing the titles and the synopsis when they are throughout the season, so that you can be prepared when it comes out. So you can be prepared for when it comes out, and and have that natural reaction. Because I mean, I think when you take a look at episode 200 and you look at Common Ground, those basically are the initial reactions that everybody is looking for behind the scenes. So that's the initial natural reactions they are looking for. So that's why the show staff is releasing the episode synopsis when they are, and why you have people like Dr. Wolf coming out and doing videos talking about them, because they don't know what the episode's going to be, right at the beginning, or what the synopsis is right at the beginning, like they used to, because now they're finding out throughout. And I think that's a great move, on their part. I really do. All right. So with that out of the way, with that talked about, next up, let's get. All right. Let's talk about this one. This is, I've kind of given my thoughts on it already, and I know a lot of people have given their thoughts. But Sonic getting a redesign for his movie. All right. Now, I questioned John Campa about this, uh, in a super chat a couple of days ago, and he stuck by. And John has a right to his opinion. He knows more about the ins and outs of Hollywood than I think a lot of us. But I asked him basically if if the statement put out by John Fowler, the director behind the movie, was prepared or not. And John said no. This was something that he did on his own. He did it because of the backlash. It wasn't prepared. And again, John has a right to his opinion. There's no doubt about that. But my honest opinion, folks, is I think it was. I think it was prepared. I really do. I really do think it was prepared. And here's why. Here's why I think it was prepared. Okay? They had They had all this time, according to and a lot of people point this out. They had all this time to change things up, to make sure Sonic's design was somewhat of a hybrid, closely resembled what people see in the games, kind of what they want, stuff like that. They had all this time because they had heard the backlash long before this. They had heard the backlash long before this. And they didn't do nothing. They came up with reasonings as to why he looked this way, and why they wanted to keep it, stuff like that. So basically, they had, despite hearing all the backlash, they still went with the design they wanted. And then it's only after the trailer came out, and some have said that with the exception of the design of Sonic, there is a mixed reaction to the trailer. And there is, believe it or not, there might be a lot of negative, but it's actually slowly being, I think, phased out by some of the positives. Because I think what a lot of people are looking at when they go and rewatch the trailer is they're seeing a good story, potentially a good origin story of how Sonic and Robotnik became enemies and all that. They're seeing potentially what could be a good origin story, but what they see with Sonic is not a Sonic character. Some have said they see somebody in a fursuit, someone, in a mascot suit, stuff like that, but they don't see a Sonic character. They don't see Sonic. I mean, they see the attitude, they see the characterization, but they don't physically see Sonic. And like I said, the people behind the movie, including the director and the producer, they had all the time. They hear all the backlash of fans didn't like the design. The design should be like this, but they were still determined to keep the design they wanted because they wanted a more realistic vibe. Now, all of a sudden, they come out and say, "Oh, we hear you. We're going to change it." And John, again, he's entitled to his opinion. Entitled to his opinion. But honestly, let's be honest. Let's be honest. And he did kind of understand where I was coming from when I mentioned that, but let's be honest. I think, in my opinion, and there's a bunch of other people that will agree, that that director, John Fowler, and the producer, whoever his name is, if it is Jeff Fowler, who's also the producer, and somebody else is director, who knows. But basically, in my opinion, and a lot of people follow this and will agree on this, that statement where he said, "Oh, we hear you. Thank you for the feedback. We're going to go get to work on this right away." That to me was prepared. That to me was prepared. And again, John Campy, he's a lot more into the business, Hollywood business than we are. He knows some of the ins and outs. And honestly, he could be right. I'm not saying he isn't. But he also has to realize, and I'm sure he does, that studios have a time limit or have a time frame as to when to get the first of maybe 2 or 3 trailers out before the release date. So my honest opinion is they were probably already expecting the backlash. They were probably already working on the redesign, but they had to get the first trailer out, which is why they got it out the way they did. And almost immediately you had a response. And again, like I said, I'm not saying that John Campy or anybody else is wrong in saying, "Oh, the guy didn't prepare that. He typed it up naturally. It wasn't prepared. He wasn't expecting the backlash." And that's fine. Everybody has a right to their opinion. But the way I look at it and everybody else looks at it is they were ready. They knew they were going to get backlash. That statement, that Twitter or that tweet was as prepared as prepared as anything you're going to see. That's my opinion. That's why he's getting a redesign. And like I said in one video that I did about this, Sonic to me, The redesign, I think, is going to be a hybrid. It's going to be a bit of what fans expect, and it's going to be a bit of what Paramount wants. So you're going to get a hybrid like Sonic. Sorry, I was just getting into some water. But like I was just thinking for a moment, well, what else to say? But like I said, you're going to get a hybrid design. You're going to probably get the eyes fixed to where it looks more like Sonic, and you're probably going to get the addition of the hands looking more like gloves, and the shoes maybe looking more like what you expect. And the one thing that John did point out about the redesign, about this process, is all they have to do is take the model they already have and just go over it, touch it up a little bit to make it look more like what fans expect. That's all they have to do. And again, you can't tell me that they were not already in the process, because a lot of people, even those at Forbes, if you will, feel that this could delay the movie about maybe to a later release, like December or the end of January. But we haven't heard anything about that yet, because right now they're still determined to reach their release deadline in November, to the release date they have planned. And that, to me, is another major clue, that if they're still aiming for that release date, then they're already in the process, that they've already been in the process of redesigning Sonic, because they expected the backlash, and that's why the director, producer, whatever he is on the film, came out with the tweet that he did. Prepared or not, he knew exactly what to say, and he was ready for it, because of the fact that they were already, and I guarantee this, already working on the redesign. And that's just my opinion. Again, I could be wrong. John Campy could be wrong. Anybody else that agrees with me or him or whatever their thoughts are on how this came to be could be wrong. But the point is, there's too many clues out there that indicate otherwise. They indicate otherwise, guys. There's just too many clues. Too many clues whatsoever. Too many clues out there to basically say that the statement was on the fly, that tweet was on the fly. No, that was a prepared statement. That was a prepared tweet / statement, however you want to look at it. That's how I view it. Because if they want to reach that deadline, that release date, I think it's just too obvious, in my opinion. Too obvious. So that's just my take on that. All right, next up. Number 5, shows and movies that need to get a Blu-ray release and a 4K UHD ultra high definition Blu-ray release. So basically, movies and shows that need to get a Blu-ray release and a 4K ultra high definition UHD Blu-ray release. Now, pretty much, there's a lot of stuff available that's been DVD released only that could really benefit from Blu-ray. Now, whether or not some of these movies and shows are priority, that's another story. But I definitely think that a lot of studios should really look into doing this, because a lot of people are saying, oh, physical media is going away, streaming is going to take top priority. And in a sense, they are right about that, but people still like physical media. And there are various reasons why people still look at physical media and why they enjoy it. Because here's the thing. You can have the streaming potential, the digital potential and all that. But who's to say you go on your VDU account or your Movies Anywhere account or your Amazon Prime account or your iTunes account, whatever, and you try to pull up your movie that you've digitally downloaded, and it's not there because something happened. Let's say the system went down and yours, along with everybody else's video movie libraries, were wiped out because of that. What do? Do you re-input the code? Do you reinsert the code? Not really, because unless due to the wipeout the codes got reset, and that's the only way you could put them back in, and that would work. Is that gonna Would that help if something like that occurred? Maybe. But let's say for the sake of argument that doesn't work. Let's say things get wiped out and you try to reinsert the code and it tells you invalid because you've already used the code, or even the codes got wiped out and they have to insert new codes. That's where your physical media comes in. That's where your physical Blu-ray, 4K Ultra HD, and even DVD releases or copies of the movies and shows you have come into play. That's where they come into play. And I think a lot of people need to realize that, which is why, again, like I said, physical media is still a big asset. It really is. Now, as far as what movies and shows should be released on Blu-ray and 4K Ultra HD, like I said, you have a peripheral of availability out there. I know Mill Creek likes to distribute some movies some shows complete on the fly for cheap prices, expensive prices, whatever. But to me, I think these are some of the shows I think could benefit from both Blu-ray and 4K Ultra HD. These are shows, even from the 80s and somewhat the 70s, that could benefit from that. Shows like Knight Rider with David Hasselhoff. Definitely a show that needs a Blu-ray release, and I think could benefit as well from a 4K Ultra HD release. MASH. How many people have been wanting MASH on Blu-ray and if not 4K Ultra HD? That would sell. That series right there would sell. Miami Vice, same way, same thing. The original Miami Vice. The Love Boat. There are fans about the Love Boat. They would love that on both Blu-ray and 4K Ultra HD. A-Team. People love the A-Team. I know Linkara likes the A-Team. I know Linkara likes them. And honestly, that could really benefit from a Blu-ray and 4K Ultra HD release. Now, the reason I bring up these shows is because these are shows that still have a cult following. People, they still have a fan base, and people would buy these DVDs, these Blu-ray, if not these Blu-ray sets and 4K Ultra HD sets as soon as they came out. They would. They would do it. There is no doubt about that. And another reason these kind of series need a release like that, just like I mentioned with MLP FIM, when it gets released as a complete series down the line, and hopefully it'll be a Blu-ray one as well, is you could fit more episodes on a disc. You can. I mean, Zaron Nizarak just recently did a closer look at the Batman animated series DVDs and Blu-rays he has, and he looked, and when he was showing the Blu-ray, the complete series Blu-ray release, or the Blu-ray release of the complete Batman animated series, he showed that there was like 13 episodes on disc 1. Disc 1 had 13 episodes. So can you imagine how many episodes can fit on a Blu-ray for any one of these series? Another series that I think could get a Blu-ray release and maybe benefit from 4K is The Greatest American Hero. There's rumors that I don't know if there's reports and rumors that they were doing a remake on it, a reboot on this series, and it was going to have a female lead instead of the male lead. Haven't heard anything much about that since then, but that's a series that could benefit from both Blu-ray and 4K releasing. It really could. Sitcoms, I think sitcoms like Full House, the original Full House, Growing Pains, Family Matters, Perfect Strangers, Step by Step. I think these can all benefit from Blu-ray releases. Maybe 4K, but mostly the sitcoms I think are more beneficial with Blu-ray. But they could, to me, I definitely see these series benefiting from Blu-ray. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air could definitely get a Blu-ray release. Saved by the Bell, the complete series, and I'm not just talking, the Saved by the Bell, the um, I'm not just talking Saved by the Bell with Zach Morris and his friends, but I'm talking the continuation into college, uh, or the continuation into college as well. I'm looking at it this way: Saved by the Bell, the original Saved by the Bell, not the new class, but the original Saved by the Bell, I think could really benefit from a Blu-ray release, maybe 4K, maybe if they want to do 4K as well with that. But I think more importantly, they can definitely benefit from a Blu-ray release, especially if they go the route that Warner Brothers did with Batman, and whatever distributor distributes Saved by the Bell onto DVD. If they were to do a Blu-ray, do an ultimate Blu-ray collection on them. Put the complete series as well as put the two made-for-TV movies. You know, what is it? Um, what's the movie? Of course, Wedding in Las Vegas. That was the finale, movie finale, as well as Hawaiian Adventure. I think. Let me look it up. Let me look it up here for a second. Excuse me there. Excuse me again. Ooh, too much. See, Hawaiian Style. That's what it was. Hawaiian Style. So to me, they should release. To me, Saved by the Bell is the kind of series and the kind of franchise that still has a cult following. Fans still watch it. That could benefit from what's known as the Ultimate Limited Edition Collection, where you would release the complete Saved by the Bell series, the original, as well as the college years, which was the continuation spinoff, and along with it, you release the movies. You also, along with them, you release the movies, Hawaiian Style and Wedding in Las Vegas. That to me, right there, would sell. That to me would sell. I mean, if you're a Saved by the Bell fan and enthusiast, that to me would sell. That to me would sell right as soon as it got released, because what you're doing is you're releasing the complete series on Blu-ray along with its spin-off series, its continuing spin-off series, the college years, and in addition, you're including the two made-for-television movies, Hawaiian Style, which I think takes place between their junior and senior year in high school, and as well as Wedding in Las Vegas, which is the movie finale and it wraps everything up. So I think honestly that would be a great series to release on Blu-ray, especially in that kind of collection, because, like I said, people would buy that outright. Another series that I think should get a Blu-ray release, and I'm surprised it doesn't have a DVD release, and I used to watch it on occasions because I like the theme song, I like the opening song, and everything, and somebody even recently talked about this, California Dreams, which was supposed to be a Saved by the Bell inspired show, except the friends also came together as a band. And I think this got inspired by one of the episodes they did around the second to third season, I believe, where Zach was dreaming about him and his friends being in a band called the Zach Attack. And the song that came out of that was called Friends Forever. And to me, that's where I think California Dreams got inspired to become a series about a group of high school friends that were also a band or something like that. So, yeah, California Dreams, I think, should definitely get a Blu-ray release. Again, I'm surprised it doesn't have a DVD release, but it should definitely get a Blu-ray one as well. As far as animated shows go, I've always stood by the fact that Transformers Generation 1 should get a Blu-ray release. And I know Zara Nizarak and others have said it's not going to be possible or anything, but possible or anything. Well, guess what? I don't think studios care as long as they make a buck. I mean, look at the fact that in 2 months they're releasing Scooby-Doo, the new Scooby-Doo movies on Blu-ray. That, what? What? You know, it's like what is that about, right? So if they're capable of doing that, then I think a lot of Hasbro should look into this because they can make a lot of money out of this. They should consider releasing all the Generation 1 cartoons on Blu-ray. They should. Complete series. G.I. Joe, Transformers, the original My Little Pony, and even Gem. You release all these on Blu-ray, and they will be snatched up. People will buy them. And you might say, well, it's just them re-releasing the same episodes, but on Blu-ray. That's true. That is true. But here's the thing. They don't have to get the master copies or anything. They just have to clean up what they have. Just clean it up a little bit. That's it. You know, you could say Batman the Animated Series was on film, and that's why it was perfect for Blu-ray. That's true. But even when it got released on DVD, there was commenting and commentary and all that about how dirty some of these things looked, but then they cleaned it up. They cleaned up the film. All they have to do with this is clean up what they have. Clean up some of the stuff they have to make it look good. And that is possible. And to me, Hasbro has a gold mine on their hands. They do. They have not just the big four, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Gem, and My Little Pony of Generation 1, of the 80s, if you will, primed for Blu-ray release. But they have some other series as well. My Little Pony Tales, which got a DVD release, I think could benefit from a Blu-ray one. They could still make money off that. Inhumanoids, which never here in the U.S. ever got a Blu-ray release, got a DVD release, could benefit from not just that, but from a Blu-ray one as well. I mean, they did get individual DVD releases, but not much. They didn't get a complete series. Here is the best opportunity for Hasbro to do that. It presents itself perfectly. It really does. So to me, Hasbro has a gold mine with Blu-ray releasing these Generation 1 series on Blu-ray, even if it's just basically taking what they have on DVD and transferring it to Blu-ray. They have a gold mine and they know it would sell. They know it. It's the same thing with, who is it? BCI or VCI, whoever Warner Brothers. I think Warner Brothers now owns the distributing rights to the He-Man and She-Ra series. They got a gold mine right there. Just release. If they want to clean it up, fine, whatever. But they have a gold mine right there. Re-release the complete series of He-Man and re-release the complete series of She-Ra on Blu-ray. In addition, you could also maybe with either probably with the She-Ra set, add in the complete Blu-ray release of Secret of the Sword. And again, I guarantee you that would sell. Especially if Mattel wants to stick it to the people behind the new She-Ra and the Princesses of Power series on Netflix. That's one way of doing it. By releasing the original She-Ra along with the movie that spun her off on Blu-ray along with the complete series of He-Man. And that's not just it either. You have the reboot of He-Man. Guess what? What was it? The 2002 release of He-Man. There you go. The new Adventures of He-Man that came out a little after the Filmation one. There you go. Gold mine for He-Man and She-Ra fans and enthusiasts lie right in the hands of Warner Brothers. and all they have to do is capitalize on it by releasing all the series completely on Blu-ray. And I guarantee you, people will buy those up, snatch them up, just like that. And Warner Brothers knows that. Disney is the same way. You know, they've released the complete series, nearly the complete series of every Disney afternoon show they have. Nearly. And what I mean by nearly is they've completed DuckTales, they've completed Tailspin, they have somewhat completed Darkwing Duck, not really. They've completed Gargoyles. So to me, I think honestly, and I know Disney Plus is coming and it would be a moot point, but I think honestly, Disney could still make a profit by releasing some of the Disney afternoon shows on Blu-ray. Because here's the honest truth. Here's the honest truth. People that buy, when you take a look, okay, let me put it this way. If you ask the average consumer what they buy the most out of between Blu-ray and DVD, they're going to say Blu-ray. Okay, they're going to say Blu-ray. And why? Because you get better clarity, better sound, and somewhat of a clearer picture. And to me, Disney can do that with their series. They can do that. I don't know if this series any of the series were done on film. I think they were. So to me, those series, if they're done on film, if they were done on film, could definitely benefit from a Blu-ray release, and they would actually look good on Blu-ray. And I think a lot of people know that. A lot of people watching this know that. They know that if Disney wanted to, and they should, in my opinion, release any of the Disney afternoon properties on Blu-ray, that if they were done on film, they would look good. And people would actually buy them up and watch them because they'd be getting a better, clarified picture of what they've seen originally. Might even get better detail. So that's what I think. Because honestly, to me it would be worth it for a lot of people. It'd be worth it for a lot of people to be able to finally have high definition quality to these Disney afternoon shows if they were done on film. And even if not, they could basically clean up what they have. They could do it. They can clean up what they have. And I think, honestly, people at Disney know. They know they have a gold mine on their hands when it comes to that. They know it. They without a shadow of a doubt, they know it. They know they have a gold mine. You know, they know they have a gold mine, and I think it's time they capitalize on that. I really do. So yeah, as far as movies go, I look at something that's actually been talked about recently, and I actually finally bought on digital download because it has HDR right next to it. I think it's HDR is short for high dynamic range or something. So I look at the movie that my sisters always say that I've watched a million times, and that is Transformers the movie 1986. And I think it's already gotten a Blu-ray release. I think the natural step is a 4K release. Because if you think it looks good on Blu-ray, if you think it's cleaned up well on Blu-ray, Imagine it being on 4K. That that would blow my mind. Another one, and again, it's in the Hasbro household, if you will, that I think could really be beneficial on 4K is the 1987 G.I. Joe the movie. Because Blu-ray cleans it up, but to me, 4K could really make it look good. And the same could be said for the 1986 My Little Pony movie, even though it's presented in 4:3. It's still been released on Blu-ray, which kind of shows that even a 4:3 film can get that. I think, and it looks good. It looks decent on Blu-ray, and I think basically a 4K release could help it out as well. Especially a 4K release can help out the 2017 film, and I'm surprised by that. I'm surprised with 4K being as popular as it is, 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray being as popular as it is, that the 2017 My Little Pony movie did not get a release. I'm surprised by that. And I think it should. Along with, believe it or not, the live action Transformer films I think are getting the 4K release now. But I'm surprised that the 2017 film didn't. Hopefully that gets rectified real soon. Hopefully it gets rectified very, very soon. So we'll see what occurs, but it needs to be fixed. It really does need to be fixed. Anyway, other movies I think that could benefit from Blu-ray and 4K. I think the Jay Underwood movie, the underrated independent film that he did in 1987, 88, if you will, 1988, The Invisible Kid, that had China Phillips of Wilson Phillips fame in there as the love interest. I think that could benefit from a Blu-ray release, mostly Blu-ray, because there's a lot of films in that independent kind of like public domain category that's getting that treatment now. So I think Invisible Kid could definitely benefit. I think what else could benefit from a Blu-ray release? I think honestly, I think Warner Brothers missed the boat with the Curse of the 13th Ghost, Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the 13th Ghost. So I think that could benefit from a Blu-ray release, and maybe even 4K Ultra HD. What else? Oh, things hitting my leg. What else? The Touched by the Angel. Here's something that my mom would like. Touched by an Angel. They have, I think, the complete series on DVD as well as have the individual movies. So I think the series and the movies can benefit from Blu-ray, maybe 4K, but mostly Blu-ray. What else? Some of the Studio Ghibli films like Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, My Friend Totoro. I think could benefit from a 4K release. They would really look good on 4K, in my opinion. So yeah, those are just some of the films I think some of the shows and films I think could benefit from a Blu-ray that should get and benefit that could benefit and should get, I should say, a Blu-ray release, and if not, a 4K Ultra HD release as well. So anyway, with that said, let's go on to the final topic here, and that is Secret Wars the next big MCU/Avengers arc? Now, this is another question I asked John Campy the other day, or yesterday, I think. And he basically feels, and he basically mentioned, and again, he has a right to his opinion. He said that no, he doesn't think it's going to be. There's no clarification of that. Well, I think, like I said at the beginning of this, with the first topic, with talking about Spider-Man, I think the new Spider-Man trailer has opened up the door for that. The reason being is because the Russo brothers and Kevin Feige have kind of hinted, if you will, that Secret Wars is on is on the table to be adapted, but they never said when it would be adapted. They said it's on the table. And I think honestly, what's happened here with this trailer for Spider-Man, revealing the multiverse now into the MCU, I think this basically opens the door for Secret Wars to be the next event. In fact, I don't think it just opens the secret door. I mean, secret. I don't think it just opens the door or for Secret Wars to be it. I think it establishes that Secret Wars is it. I mean, like I said earlier, yes, it's going to wrap up not season, but it's going to wrap up phase 3, kind of show the aftermath of Endgame and all that, and establish Peter as being like the next, the next face of the MCU, the new face of the MCU, the new Tony Stark, the new leader of the Avengers, stuff like that. It's going to establish him in that role. It's like I said, as well as wrap up all the loose ends of phase 3, but at the same time, it's setting us up for phase 4. And the whole introduction of the multiverse being established due to the being established in this film due to the fact that the snap, and again, like I said earlier, I'm going with Tony Stark's snap being the reasoning, that these portals to these other alternate universes have opened up. It basically overall sets up what phase 4, what the next few phases are going to be: phase 4, 5, and 6. Because of the fact that why would you basically uh, open up this possibility? Why would you open up this possibility if you weren't setting up? Hold on for a sec. Like I said, if you weren't setting up, and that was just a friend messaging me on Facebook. If you weren't setting up the possibility of this event happening, because to me, it's more along the lines of, you could go. Here's how I look at it. You could go with any direction to help wrap up phase 3, kind of set the table for phase 4, and people will probably be cool with it. But what you're doing here is you're already setting yourselves up to do Secret Wars. You're setting that up. You're setting up that possibility. Because now you're establishing and introducing multiverses. You're introducing the multiverse. You're bringing in basically different incarnations of already established characters in an already established timeline. But these characters are completely different. They're not the same as what's known as the Prime World. You're pretty much setting that up. And by setting that up, and like I said, by setting that up, how do I put this? You're opening the door and you're establishing, and you're hinting, if not establishing, what the next big event is going to be. And to me, because the Russos have hinted at it, Kevin Feige has hinted at it, there's no doubt, in my opinion, it's going to be Secret Wars. And it makes sense. I mean, if you go back and watch Spider-Man, the animated series, and you read some of the Spider-Man comics and some of the Marvel comics, one of the central points of those comics was the multiverse. And what it consisted of, what became of it, what it created. And to me, by establishing the multiverse in this final chapter or this epilogue to phase 3, where you, like I said, you're trying to establish Peter Parker as as the new face of the MCU, as the new leader of the Avengers, the next Tony Stark, as well as you're trying to wrap up all the loose ends of phase 3. At the same time, you're setting up for phase 4, and by setting up for phase 4, by doing so, you're establishing that there's going to be multiverses. Now, does that open up the door for a multitude of MCU movies to take place in other timelines, other universes? Absolutely, it surely does. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. But to me, when I look at this, you're not just setting those possibilities up for future MCU movies to take place in other timelines and other universes, but you're also setting up something bigger. And in my opinion, what they're setting up is Secret Wars. I think that's the next event. The Russo brothers have dropped too many hints at times to ignore the fact that that's the next big event. And I think a lot of us know that. A lot of us know that to be a fact. A lot of us know that to be a fact. And I think, with all due respect, John Campa, he knows that too. John Campa knows that. Linkara knows that. People at Cinemassacre, Channel Awesome, everybody that's probably watching this in various parts, because it's a long stream, they know that. They know that. Like I said, they know that. And that's just my cell phone going off in the back. But they know that. Everybody sees that. And again, like I said, the Russo brothers dropped hints. And for them to drop the hints and basically then release a trailer that shows, yeah, you're wrapping up phase 3, but you're also establishing what could be coming in phase 4, or what will be coming, or what's going to be set in place for phase 4. You can't deny the fact that you pretty much said Secret War. You're pretty much writing on the wall, for everybody to see, Secret Wars is the next big MCU Avengers arc. You can't tell me that's not what you're setting up for. I'll probably talk about that in a non-live stream, NT. But anyway, you cannot, and thank you for being in the chat, NT. But anyway, you cannot put a trailer out like this, have Nick Fury mention, or have Quentin Beck, Mysterio, say the line he did, have Nick Fury basically say, yeah, he's from Earth, but not our Earth. Open up the door for multi-universes. Open up the door for potential MCU movies to take place in other timelines and universes. You cannot do that without basically saying that you're setting up the premise, you're building the foundation for the next the next big MCU Avengers event, which is going to be Secret Wars, from what I can see. Because one thing you have to understand is Secret Wars, when you read it or you watch any adaptation, who's the central figure as far as the heroes are concerned? Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the central figure. What is phase 3 closing? Who is phase 3 closing with and opening phase 4 with as the face of the MCU? As the face of the MCU, as the leader, as the new Tony Stark, the new leader of the Avengers. Spider-Man. That's what they're doing. And just like Iron Man was the face of the first three phases and the leader of the Avengers somewhat, along with Captain America, all the way to the end in Endgame, all the way to his end in Endgame, you cannot tell me you don't see that here with Peter Parker slash Spider-Man being established in the same kind of manner, similar if not same kind of manner, and set up to a story arc that he was the central point, that he was one of the central, if not the central focus of, and that being Secret Wars. You cannot tell me that that's not the big event that they're planning to go towards next, because that's exactly the next big MCU Avengers um, event, crossover movie that they're going to build towards. Is it going to take time? Absolutely. I mean, they've got several movies to work towards it. They got a prequel to Black Widow. Whether or not that plays a part, I don't know. They got Doctor Strange 2, which a lot of people are pretty much predicting is going to, advance and build upon this whole multi-universe deal even further. You got Black Panther 2, which may also help build upon this. You got the Eternals, which is either going to be a prequel, which people are saying is going to take place in the past, but could also be an alternate universe movie, which will probably build upon this as well. You're looking at all these possibilities. Looking at all these movies, and three of them, in my opinion, are going to build on this whole multi-universe deal in Phase 4 that's getting established here in Spider-Man Far From Home, the epilogue, final chapter, if you will, Phase 3 and beginning in first chapter and prologue and first chapter of Phase 4. So, to me, honestly, I think it's. I don't think. I don't know, but I don't think it's hard enough to believe that Secret Wars is going to be the next big one. I mean, what other Marvel crossover event do you know of that is bigger than Secret Wars? Galactus? Maybe. But you need the Fantastic Four. So to me, I think the next one is Secret Wars. And I think it's already evident just by what you see in this trailer and what you hear, what you see and hear, and you find out about in this trailer. So to me, Secret Wars is the next big MCU Avengers event. When will it occur? When will this happen? It could happen at the end of Phase 4. It could happen at the end of Phase 3. Heck, it could happen at the end of Phase 6. We don't know. But it's going to happen, and they've already laid down the foundation with Far From Home, in my opinion. So, anyway, though, guys, that's going to be about it for this May 6th edition of Topics on My Mind. Thank you all for watching. I know it went long. Thank you to Bugs Bunny, not the character, but someone going by his name on YouTube, as well as NT for coming into the live chats. Thank you guys. Really appreciate that. Thank you all for watching that but did not comment. Let me know what you all think, though, in the comment sections below afterwards, because I'm pretty sure you're going to take your time in watching this. But let me know what you all think down below. Comment if you like. Thank you all again for all tuning in live. And if you haven't tuned in live, thank you all for watching post live and commenting down below in this comment section, or commenting on Twitter or Facebook, wherever. Thank you all. Appreciate it. But let me know what you all thoughts on on the 6 topics that I talked about. And that's really going to be about it, guys. So until next time, probably later on, I'll talk to you all later. God bless and take care. Thank you all for watching.